Good afternoon, Your Honour. I am the solicitor for the accused, Mr. John Smith. Mr. John Smith has been charged with causing serious injury recklessly to Mr. Jones. The charges have been outlined in the Crimes Act 1958, subsection 17. Mr. Smith is seeking bail in order to set right his day-to-day affairs, Your Honour. If I may refer you to laws and statutes relevant to Mr. Smith's case. Pursuant to Section 4 of the Bail Act 1977, a person accused of an offence and being held in custody in relation to that offence is to be granted bail. Your Honour, if I may remind you, since we live under a liberal democratic society, consistency is a big part of our court system. And to keep matters consistent, John Smith, a never before convicted Australian citizen, should be granted bail. Under the Bail Act 1977, Section 4E, it is outlined the elements that must be satisfied for bail to be granted. John Smith's record and lifestyle speak for themselves as they display that he is a good, hard-working citizen. John works for MSS Security, where he holds the lead assistant role at security at popular Melbourne events. He has worked for them for over 10 years, Your Honour, and earns approximately $100,000 per year post-taxes. All of his income he puts towards his family and his mortgage. John is hoping to, within the near future, obtain the lead role in security. If I may also raise, Your Honour, John has a happy and stable relationship with his wife Jane Smith of 5 years. He is a fully qualified pilot for commercial airplanes, and if we refer back to Section 4E of the Bail Act, we can clearly see that Mr. Smith is in fact an intelligent, hard-working Australian citizen. I would also like to refer you, Your Honour, to Section 3AA of the Bail Act 1977. John Smith is a 30-year-old Melbourne-born man who is a first-time offender, as stated before. Also stated, he holds a stable job and does not have an unstable background or upbringing. Not only is this Mr. Smith's first offence, but he has been accused with causing serious injury recklessly, which proves that he does not have the mens rea to deliberately cause the injury to Mr. Jones, and thus the reason we are seeking bail, Your Honour. If I may, I would also like to refer you to some relevant case law to Mr. Smith's case. R.V. Alazar and Anor, 2007, outlined where the applicants were granted bail due to employment in family business and because of family support. In the matter of Mr. Smith, he also has to support his wife and needs time to contact MSS Security and inform them of the necessary changes that must be made to his high position within the company. Once again, if I may refer you back to the consistency among the Australian courts under a liberal democratic system, we ask that bail be granted to Mr. Smith in order to set right his everyday life. We also understand, Your Honour, that the applicants have raised some issues with having bail granted for my client, and in return, Mr. Smith has stated that he does acknowledge that he is indeed friends, lifelong, with Thanos, the president of the local crime gang. They attended the same school and high school and grew up in the same neighbourhood, but my client insists that his relationship is strictly friendship, and also insists that he does not condone any of the actions of Thanos. Secondly, we also understand that the applicants have raised John Smith has not spoken to his parents in 5 years. The reason for this, Your Honour, is because he has moved away to start his own family with his wife. Since moving into his own residence, his parents have moved overseas as they no longer have use for such a large house. John has since chosen to focus on his career and family, hence the reason why he has not spoken to them. Thirdly, Your Honour, we are aware that under Section 4, subsection 2, subsection D, subsection I of the Bail Act 1977, the unacceptable risks involved with the client. John Smith is willing to give up his passport and pilot license as surety, and has also stated that he will not affiliate with anyone the court wishes. My client's wife has also offered surety in the form of monetary value to ensure that Mr. Smith will indeed abide by the rules laid out to him. Lastly, Your Honour, if I may conclude, John Smith is a first-time offender who has never had any previous convictions. He works a stable job and is happily married. These are all qualities of an average hard-working citizen here in Australia, and thus the reason we are pushing for bail. Mr. Smith has stated that he is happy to comply with curfew checks, as well as handing up his passport and pilot licence as surety. We push to have bail granted for Mr. Smith so that he may set right the obligations that he has in everyday life. We ask that all above points be taken into consideration, as they clearly depict that Mr. Smith is a one-off offender who regrets deeply his actions that led to the injury of Mr. Jones, and that he is an everyday hard-working man of society with a stable financial and emotional background, and thus we push to have bail granted. Thank you, Your Honour.